We don't get to choose the home and the family or the life we are born into. We definitely don't get to choose the way we look. And yet, we grow up with this insecurity and keep asking, what if I was born a certain way? This thought brings us closer to hating ourselves even more. And when we hear about self love, we choose materialistic ways to soothe ourselves and feel better for some time. But what if I say that self love is simple and it all rounds up to willingly accepting what's outside our control? I just want to give you a disclaimer that I am not a self love coach, but today's video is based on my personal learnings and experiences, and I've broken this down into three parts, which I call my three pillars. If you have been looking for uncomplicated ways to find some love within, then I'm sure that some of the tips in this video is going to help you do just that. So, the first pillar is stop comparing yourself. Some people had abusive childhood, some had happy families, and for some, at least it seemed so. Some had very little money, and some had so much money to spend on silly things. Some of us are either dark, too fair, too fat, too thin, and some are perfect. And with the world coming closer with each passing day, it's tempting to compare ourselves not just with the people we know, but also with the people we see on the internet. And we find ourselves saying things like, I want hair like that girl, or I want abs like his or hers before my next vacation. I want to lose 20 kgs in 1 month. And comparing makes us feel better too when we see that we measure better than some of the people around. So I have a fair complexion, and I was maybe 3 to 4 tones fairer and paler growing up. In people's words, I was ridiculously white. And some people would even say that I look scary. So I would not wear or put any kind of moisturizers or creams growing up because I thought that these creams were making me look more white, and I dreaded that. But what do you think leads us to spend half of our lives in those unhappy places of comparison and self loathing? It's someone else feeling the need to express their opinion about our flaws at a time when we are most vulnerable, and we continue to hate our bodies, our lives, and everything around us. It's not easy to come out of that comparison loop. It's almost impossible to be a human and not compare ourselves with others. But if we make a conscious effort to look at ourselves from that place of love within, then I'm sure that we will understand that we deserve to be loved, at least by ourselves. And things slowly start getting better when we remind ourselves every day that loving yourself is the start of everything beautiful. Like Oscar Wilde said, loving oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. With that, let's move on to my second pillar, and that is leave that envy and anger behind. How often do you find yourself wanting what other people have? And sometimes do you also find yourself wanting them to not have what they already have? Adults are more likely to feel this kind of extreme envy because our insecurities grow bigger as we grow older. If that person suffers, I will be very happy. If I get to hear something unpleasant about that person, then I will feel accomplished. If it is easier to bring you down than me stepping up, then I'll do that. And if I have to talk to 100 people about how much you've suffered, I won't mind. People do this when they are possessed by this thing called envy, and it gets to the best of us. Treating yourself like someone you love also means leaving this anger and envy behind and feeling that compassion, if not for others, at least for yourself. And this will automatically lead you to a calmer mind and calmer life. This quote by Buddha fits so well in this situation. It says, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. So, moving on to the third pillar, and that is being present. Learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference, said Marcus Aurelius. What does it mean to be present? While watching movies, sometimes they play these blurred, desaturated shots just to depict some past scenario or a memory, and after a while it comes back to normal with colors. That is how I feel my life is when I'm not present: vague, blur, and colorless. Whereas when I consciously put an effort to stay present, even for a few moments, without thinking about the past or the future, everything seems so vivid and bright. This vividness for me is being present, which instantly lights up the scene in my life. It's not easy to break through that pattern of living elsewhere or living in this is what I need to do next kind of moments because our mind loves to wander. The moment is not found by seeking it, but by ceasing to escape from it, said James Pierce. So I make a conscious effort to bring back my wandering mind to where I am and do that over and over and over again. Loving yourself and your life so much that you want to fill each moment with so much color and brightness and create a movie with each scene worth living over and over again, I think is self love. But the foundation of all the three pillars, as per me, is authenticity. If we are authentic and true to ourselves, is when we can identify and acknowledge where we stand and try to be at a substantially better place by working on building our own pillars of self love. And when I talk about being authentic, I mean not filtering or refining who we are like we do in front of the world, but seeing that raw, unedited versions of ourselves and working from there on. I loved making this video and I am hoping that you all liked it too. If you want to watch similar videos in the future, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my next one.